Well, this video is going to start with a well, I think, as well, because this is a part two from the previous one, and when I was back in my hometown, or the town of my birth, really my hometown is where I am now. I had this really clear idea of where I'm headed next. And that hasn't changed. It's just that I realized that the road to that destination is way, way too long. Like, not as in like, oh, it's too long. I mean, that there is that as well, but it's so long. It's like there's so much more that I need to walk before I can get to a destination. And maybe the destination is not what I thought it was as well. So, again, come sit next to me, and yeah, and as always, I love hearing from you if anything that I speak about resonates, but from your own perspective. Just I want to hear your stories, not comments about mine, meaning I'm not interested, but I'm interested in your stories. So the thing that was happening, and this is all to do with my body, this is the summer season when my body is in my face, and everything and my lifelong story with it kind of comes screaming at me. Sometimes it's whispers in the past, depending on the shape of it and my feeling about it and all the rest, right? This summer, going back to the town where all the original wounding around my body happened, I was terrified that it was gonna like bring all of that. It did nothing. It was the most healing, quiet, soft experience of 10-11 days we were there. So you can watch the other video. I'm not going to go into that now. And there was a couple of things that I was noticing more clearly than ever before while I was on the holiday, and they are like seemingly conflicting experiences of myself, and yet I'm not really sure if they are really conflicting, but they felt conflicting. So on one hand, I felt genuinely comfortable in my own body, like just as sexy as they come, like just, and I use sexy as a way of shorthand for confidence, because I personally find confidence sexy. So I just do. So to me, that's like, and I don't know if other people do. So I want to say that. And I feel, therefore, when I'm confident, I feel sexy, even if I know I look like I'm in my, I don't know, apron cooking and smelling of onions being fried or something, right? No, it's not. It's the confidence piece that I love, like as an attractor factor about someone. Not in a desirability framework that I've been talking about, that too, but it exists outside of it, is what I mean. So anyway, so I'm like outside of the desirability frame. I do not care if anyone else thinks I'm attractive or likes the way I move, the way I look, the way my body looks, even though I'm equally aware that my body is the size that it is, the largest it ever has been. I actually, when we got back from holiday, I weighed myself and I'm 4 kilos heavier than I have ever been in my life, which is a lot, considering especially my age, right? And I could feel that. I could feel that, obviously, as anyone does in their body. You can just feel there's more of it, or more of you, right? And the heaviness and all of that, right? Anyway, so on one hand, there is a real sense of, which has been there for a while now, like for a while. It's nothing new. But what was new, or rather what I never yet experienced, was that to feel like that on that beach in the town where it all started, for better and worse, right? So that was glorious. And at the same time, like I say, there was a clear sense that every time I would walk past the mirror, or even without a mirror, that I would just feel that this is way too much. I'm carrying so much. I became aware of my weight not being anymore about the aesthetics or even health, but about weight that I'm carrying, like carrying something. And I became so like clear that it's not my weight, that I'm carrying other people's weight. And I don't mean literally their weight, as in not even literally, I don't mean like even symbolically, metaphorically. What I mean, it's I'm carrying weight that I have taken on, I have put on because that's how I have decided or thought it was the best or thought it was the safest, most effective way to deal with the world around me, which is really ultimately people, right, around me. So in that sense, it's the weight of other people. And that was like a moment of like, and it was an armor, right? It was an armor. Therefore, it was a form of protection, form of management, all of those things, right? So the clarity of that disidentification from weight that I have arrived at particularly clearly this summer, just a week or two ago, was new, and it was really like powerful. I could not see it. I couldn't unsee it, or unhear it, or unfeel it. And I thought, oh great, I feel like this will be this is what I needed, like a permission to just lose weight, because the reasons I was struggling with the idea of losing weight was that the weight was mine, the body was mine. I mean, that all stays, and that all is true to an extent, but in a healthier extent this time around, given the clarity that arrived just, like I say, recently. So I got back home to England, and to my just horror, it's just as bloody hot in here as it was on Mediterranean. I just can't stand that, but that's a whole other conversation. Or even if it's not even a conversation, it's just a fact. I hate it. Anyway, okay. Hate the heat, hate the summer. Oh my God, so much. And nothing to do with the body. I mean, probably actually when you're heavier, definitely it's harder. The summer is harder on you. But I was like this when I was thin or thinner, much thinner, whatever. So it's just me not liking the sun and the heat. I mean, I love the sun, but I don't like being in the sun. Okay, so that was that. I arrived in England, and like, what it's like, first few days, it's all like washing, cleaning, blah, 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 but I was like, okay, I'm gearing myself towards like, okay, I'm going to sit down once everything is back to normal, and I'm going to make a plan, and I'm going to go back to, I have ways of losing weight. Like, I want to drop this weight. I don't want to carry this. I am so clear and loud to myself that I do not want to carry other people's weight. And I say other people's weight in the way I just qualified, right? In the way that I have adopted it as a way of dealing with the world, right? I'm not going to repeat that anymore. Hopefully you will remember. So I was like done with that, right? I'm done. And therefore I felt genuine, like momentum building up, like I can now do this. I can actually lose weight for all the right reasons and not feel like I'm complicit with the whole desirability framework that I genuinely have left. I have proven to myself over and over again. And I could feel the momentum building. And yet there was something, as the rest cleared, as I kind of go back into my normal life, like 3-4 days after we arrived, we came back, I was just like that. Like all of that momentum I thought was building up, or I felt was building up, right? Just, I don't know, disappeared. I couldn't find it anymore. And then I sat with all of that. So I'm just gonna like the summary so from that point where I thought I was gonna go healthy because I need to, I mean, that's a fact. Did you hear that? I think that's a postman. Well, no, it's a postman. So the fact at this point, outside of aesthetics, vanity, desirability frame, all the stuff, mine, other people's, whatever, I don't, whatever, right? It's the health is the priority because I am approaching obese BMI, apparently not too close to it, but closest I've ever been. So I genuinely need to sort that out. And my body feels like it's too much, like it just doesn't, it feels so not good to be in my body. It's just way too much of the flesh and the fat and the things, whatever, right? The things are in the way. Everything is in the way. Nothing sits right on me anymore, clothes-wise. And anyway, so and this is all like I need to, I want to be comfortable in my own body, right? So anyway, so I'm clear on that, and yet the momentum for that was gone. But I still went through the motions, like doing my, so the way I used to, sorry, I should really clarify this. The way I used to, the most proven, effective way of losing weight for me has always been, because it was most pleasurable, was fasting. I'm someone who likes to break patterns, like I don't like to get settled too much into something. This doesn't apply across everything in my life, but it's a big piece for me. And so fasting breaks the pattern, right? And I love the extreme sensation that you get from fasting, like the emptiness and all of that, right? So I loved it. And it was always so effective, like, and I could really do it. Like I could do it for a couple of months, alternate or almost alternate, and just thrive in it, like thrive on it, in it, loving it. So I was like, okay, we'll do that. No, could not do it. Could not do it. Okay, so the summary, or rather the conclusion. It's been how many days now? Almost a week since I've been trying to fast, or even just like diet, like just have a, eat less and eat, just have a system like saturated fat out, whatever used to work before, right? I tried all of it and nothing is working. And so I dug deeper, as I do. I sat with it all, blah, blah, did all the self-therapy and therapy work. And, okay. So the first realization I arrived at was something I struggled to say, to kind of look at throughout my whole life, but certainly even this week. But I'm so glad I did, because, that's the thing, you have to look at it, it's yours, So, which is that I have found my body's needs inconvenient my whole life. And I mean the most mundane needs. I used to get so wound up when I'm having to wash my hair. I mean, I used to have very long hair, so there is that. Some of you may understand that more than just, more than you would otherwise. But even now, I still don't like it, because it's just I don't like it, even though it all breaks the pattern of my everyday otherwise, right? Like having to wash hair is just somewhat different that day, is at least in my case. But I hate that. I absolutely hate washing my hair. I used to do it every 2 months if I could help it, because whatever, it worked for me, it didn't, my hair still looked good. Or maybe it was once a month. Anyway, like I hate having to cut my nails. I genuinely get so frustrated, like, oh my God, just have to do that now. I hate it. And some other, body functions I'm not going to go into now. Literally, I'm just annoyed that my body is now asking for my attention where I'm in the middle of doing something, even though the attention will, whatever it's asking of me, sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's less long. It's as real as it gets. So and now I'm in a place, okay, hold on, let me just try to talk about this somewhat more succinctly. I need to take you back a little bit further, well, actually very far in time, like when I was 5, 6 or something, when I had a very clear image, like I saw something which was lovely, a man holding a child, father holding a child, and I remember immediately knowing I will never want to have children. Just, I didn't know at the time what it was, but I just knew I wasn't going to have children. Like I just knew it was the only thing I ever knew. And so long story short, yeah, at the heart of it was, I just don't want to give myself to anything other than what my life is, full stop, right? To another human being to that extent, because I presume that's what happens, right, when you have a child. And so it was, I just never wanted a child, like I said. So, but you can't, well, I couldn't have it that way 100%, because my body is essentially my child, in the sense of, one of the reasons I never was keen on children, or just knew I didn't want them, is because of the attention that you have to just, they become your priority. Their life is your life, and I want my life to be my life. But my body is my life too, even though my life is different to my body's life. Like I'm writing, I'm painting, talking, whatever it is that I'm doing, I don't want to be interrupted by the needs of my body that are like, come on, we need to do this, we need to do that. etc. I mean, I'm simplifying, or rather, yeah, I'll leave it to that. I'm simplifying maybe a more complex metaphor here, but I'm sure you can fill in the gaps. So when my body, and so because I'm now at a point that I'm done even more so with tending to anyone else's needs, because I'm surrounded by grown-ups, and the old sort of patterns of tending to other people's needs were all misfiring and misplaced and misjudged, and they were essentially self-abandonment, and you know all that stuff, right? So like every atom in my body is like, we're not taking care of anything or anyone other than ourselves. Now, I can't identify so much with my body in that way, because it does take me from what I identify profoundly with, which is my art, what I make, my creations. Hardly any of that is still public, so that is coming in the winter, where I'm actually going to come alive instead of this slushy version of me, like just smothered by the heat. So I realized that, right, that is why I cannot bring myself to be tending to my hunger if I'm fasting, because I'd have to be in it, right, and have to be like constantly alert to my body, to manage it, to kind of work with it, to, it's okay, we're not really hungry, it's just a sugar spike or whatever, right, that kind of conversation. So I was like, and I'm in the middle of creating my projects, my legacy work I'm doing, and so that was the first realization on the back of what I just shared, right, and the beach and the holiday. But then there was something about that I wasn't quite answering all the issues, all the energies I had around, or explaining all the energies and feelings that I had around losing weight. And so the next destination, the next realization is the biggest. So the reason that I couldn't do the fast, in addition to this, what I just shared about, was that my mom died in April last year, and I was with her. I was a primary carer from the moment of the terminal diagnosis to her death, and she literally wasted away. Like, as well, you may have had that experience yourself, right? Maybe not, whatever, but you can imagine, right? A person dying, like just they're wasting away, right? It was cancer, and she was unconscious towards the end and all that. So thankfully there wasn't really a lot of pain, but she stopped eating, right? And literally became skeleton with bones with skin hanging off, kind of thing. So wasting away is a big thing in my memory of my time with her. And so a sense of anything in me that would reenact her death was just a no-go area. Like, I couldn't, even obviously I'm 5 times, if not more, her size. Not literally, we're kind of similar size when I'm normal size on my own. Similar height, and one was a bit taller than her, but still, my point is, but now the size that I am now, and obviously the size that she was when she died, in that sense, like I'm 10 times bigger or 5 times bigger or whatever. So my point is that this is not literal. If I start fasting tomorrow, even in 2 months, I will be nowhere near where she was. But it's this is the psyche and the grief, and I just couldn't be in that. It feels like reenactment. Then also there is fear of dying, in the sense that I have, or rather my mom was a hypochondriac, and she would be at the doctor's every month for something, right? So she was checking always something, always, and yet they never detected the cancer. They only detected it when it came to her brain, went to her brain or whatever, and that was metastatic, stage 4 or whatever, meaning it was already somewhere else, well, rotting, and killing her, right, as cancer does. By the time they realize that there is anything wrong, which is like, how did that happen? That was all of us, like, it was a shock. She was like 85, she was not young, right? But it's that piece, like, she was vigilant and yet she still missed it. So now I'm feeling myself, it's my mother, right? So I'm fearful of my own health 10 times more, or rather unhealth, the possibility of me getting cancer as well, which is all, as I speak it, I feel, I mean, I know it's, but that's the thing, it's irrational. It's not quite, but that's my piece. That's what I mean. It's like, this is all way too raw still, that I didn't realize that it was, because my mum was never part of my life. I lived millions of miles away from her. We were not close in that kind of day-to-day life. With, you know, it's a mother-daughter relationship, as complex as they get and as dysfunctional as they get, and that might be another video another time, if ever, or you'll see it through my work or whatever, right? But my point is, I don't miss a day-to-day because she was never in my life day-to-day. But I think just witnessing someone you love die, obviously, that is profound and that is traumatic, right? And waste away and all of that, right? So, but also, like I said, the piece about hypochondria, I'm like, now every time my body feels discomfort, like, oh, there's pain here, there's pain there, is that something I should worry? Is that something I should check? So I realize that I'm unable to fast because it's an uncomfortable feeling when you fast. You get hunger pains, I know it too well, and it's all kinds of, and exercise also can end up hurting places. I have injured myself so many times when I would go into like, you know, really excited, like, okay, new health regime, I'm going to be jogging, walking with weights, whatever. 3 days in, I just injured something, like sprained something, went too far, too fast, whatever. So that didn't bother me ever. Now I'm like, oh my God, maybe I've damaged something irreparable. It's going to be, and the ultimate fear isn't dying. It's how you're dying. Oh, that's a whole other conversation. It's like to be powerless. Like, I mean, I don't want to ever claim that I'm not afraid of death. I think that's fool's talk, really. But I think I would meet it consciously, like meet it in, the fear is to be unconscious and to be in pain. And, oh, this is too complex, right? This is such a big subject, but it is playing into my resistance, my reluctance to put my body through any discomfort, diet, exercise, because there is something viscerally still so unbearable about being reminded of the possibility to be ending like my mum, but also to be like my mum, right? Just to be reminded of her, and particularly of her dying. And then the last layer, which was the hardest to face, well, not the hardest actually, but possibly most emotional or something, is that for me to gather the energy for the new health regime, I can't be in a sort of like a slushy state, or like, I can't sleep, I'm too tired, can't do anything in this heat, right? So I need to, even if it's not heat, I have to always be in that kind of like, okay, we're doing it. And I'm always excited because it's breaking a pattern of how I lived for a few months and now I'm changing that. And I love that. So there is the genuine excitement, which is part of the motivation. And, but the reason I can't master it the way I need to is that I'm the closest to my mum that way. As in temperament, because she was a very summer person, like she was as summer as I'm winter, like incredible. Sun, she could be on the beach 24/7 if she could, you know, so yeah, and loves the heat and all of that, right? And lived Mediterranean climate. She had that most of her life. So her energy was like that, like sunny and positive, and she loved life, and she just loved socializing. Everything I'm not. Everything I'm not, she was. But energetically, like I had that energy about me, that kind of exuberance, that kind of like, I had the summer energy in me. I could master it, I could evoke it, I could invoke it. It's just that I was using it for something else, not for socializing, it didn't have to do anything with the summer or whatever, right? But the frequency was my mum's, or rather we were similar. And so it's what we shared, right? It's how her genetics came to me, right? So to be in the state of health regime with all that exuberant summer-like energy, even though yes, it's summer, but like I say, it's unrelated, it's just in its frequency, right? I mean, it's unrelated to the season, was to be with my mum, like to have her in my life. And yet I have never had her in my life, except for when I was young, obviously up until my 20s, early 20s. And then I started leaving home for like 6-9 months at a time, and then eventually emigrated to England and in my 20s. And so it was all like I say, she was never in my life. And now if I were to do this on some level, I will bring her in, and I wouldn't know what to do with her. Like, I don't know how to be with my mum day to day. Never have been. And a layer here that she's now dead. So I would be reminded of her death by her presence, right? Even though it would be just a energetic presence or something, psychic presence or whatever, or imaginary presence, it felt presence, right? And then there is a layer like, which I've been experiencing as one, if you lost someone you love, human or animal or whatever else, right? You know that it's almost like the letting go is a cycle. Like I was letting her go again in my town of birth, where she birthed me, where she brought me up, right, where I grew up. I was letting her go again. So there is like, I'm attending her funeral metaphorically over and over and over again, and it's exhausting. It's welcome. I don't shy from it. It's a way of being with her. It's all fine, but it's exhausting, and it's not something I look forward to. So now I have that through everything I just shared with you, that this whole health regime, which is essential, I need to crack the way to do it, even if it means doing all of this, like meeting my mum and being in all of that and accepting that that's what it is, and blah blah whatever else, I don't know. But my point is, I am at the outset of something that is essentially light in its energy, in its outcome. I will be lighter because I lose weight, right? But is now actually heavy, extremely heavy in all the ways I just shared. So it's like great. So yeah, that's where I'm at. No idea how this is gonna end. I mean, it's gonna end with me being healthier, that's for absolute sure. Being lighter, I need to lose at least 8 kilos. At least 8 kilos. My happy medium, like my happy physical health space is 66 kilos. But yeah, 68 would be okay. And probably after that I would hopefully get to 66 and have that as my, getting older weight, because I could go back to exercise, because, so heavy I can't, there's no way I'll be jogging today because of these days, because there's so much weight on my poor old bones right now. So I know all this, right? I know all this, I've done it before, I've done it last year, I've done it so successfully last year, the year before, but I was that was maintenance, I was maintaining my kind of, that I fluctuate, I always put on weight and I lose and all that, but the fluctuation is 5 kilos, let's say. Now it's 10 kilos, ultimately, and it's like, whoa. Anyway, so, yeah, like I said at the beginning, I always like hearing your stories about all these subjects that I'm sharing with you, whether it's death of a loved one, whether it's weight, whether it's body, whether it's being a woman. I look forward to reading it.